Last time out at Avis, David Jakes took advantage of other people's problems to take the win at the very last corner. Today, we're in the streets of Monte Carlo for the third round of the 1980 HSO Procar Series. Cars are streaming around, finishing their qualifying session. This should be a fantastic event today. And I'm joined in the booth by Alberto Ibañez. Alberto, good evening.
Good evening, Jason, from the most glamorous track in the world.
Indeed, this is where Monaco meets, well, it's film fantasy. The Hollywood world meets the racing world. This is obviously one of the more unusual tracks in the world, and certainly a lot of cars, it cramps their style, but there's no better place in the world for the spectacle of racing. Let's take a look with that in mind at the track itself. 2 miles around, a little more than 2 miles around, 3.312 kilometers, 28 laps today. We're not racing the exact, precise 1980 layout. We're using the best-looking, most modern version that AMS has to offer. So the main difference will be that the chicane will be the Nouvelle chicane. But with that small deviation from history in mind, I think we're in for a really fun race.
Yeah, it should be. As we all know, the Procar are absolutely the same car for everybody. It's a spec class. And that means that it's absolutely driver talent what is going to make the difference here. Driver talent, and speaking of that, there you see Grant Riddle already on the pole. A very talented driver. And, well, this is going to be a hard race. Even if it's only 28 laps, we're going to see very likely many cars that will not finish. And the 3 keys that are, I think, the most important for understanding and following today's race are the following. First of all, it will be very hard to overtake. Either if you want to go for the podium, if you want a shot at winning the race, or if you simply want to improve your position or lap a car, it's going to be very hard for you. There's only one clear place, that's right before the chicane Jason just pointed out. The second key is going to be the heat. I know that some drivers have reported already a bit of overheating in the engines, which is probably the normal thing that you would expect when you're pushing them here in the mild spring here in Monaco. And the third one is Austin Johnson. Austin Johnson is one of the title favorites. It's a very quick driver. It's always there right behind Grant Riddle. But if he wants to get a chance at the championship, he really has to get his campaign on the move. So those are the 3 cases that we will be watching today.
Yeah, I think that's really expert analysis there from our color commentator. While we have a moment, let's take a look at the standings as they are right now in the series. Grant Riddle is in the lead with 32 points. David Jakes is right behind him, 2 points behind with 30. Jakob Fredriksson is third with 21 points. David Junt is fourth with 18. And Thiago Canola, who returns to the series today after being absent at Avis, is in fifth with 15 points. And to your point, Alberto, Austin Johnson is not in the top 5, and he does need to get his effort on the move if he wants to have a chance at winning this championship.
He does. He's driving Nelson Piquet's car, who was actually the season winner back then in 1980. And also in the case of Piquet, he didn't start very well the season, but then won 3 races in a row, even the last one in Imola, and that gave him the championship. Whereas Hans Stuck, the other main favorite for the title, which is coincidentally the car that Grant has, he was probably going to win the season had he not his share of bad luck when he crashed out in Sandward. Let's see if the season plays the same for these 2.
All right, so the warm-up has just started. We have 10 minutes under which the cars will go on the track. Maybe we'll have a chance to take a full lap with somebody. The cars are, I believe they are at the end of the pit lane waiting for the green light to come on. We're riding on board now with Jan Kowalski in the Schutz Racing entry. And as soon as that clock in the corner of the screen goes green, they will be able to go out on their warm-up laps. There's the green light. And away they go. Jan Kowalski peeling out here. So Those of you who are racing enthusiasts won't find this to be any huge surprise, but here they are coming down into Saint-Devote. Very tight, and now up the hill. Beau Rivage. And into the Massenet left-hander, which is progressively tightening, and in these cars where weight shift can definitely affect handling, it'll be interesting to see how they handle that. Now into Casino Square, down this hill, into the Mirabeau corner. Some people are probably going to be riding up on that curb there that's visible. And now the short run down to the Lowe's hairpin, one of the most iconic corners in motor racing. The brick wall on the left, heading into Poitiers, the right-hander, and then the final right-hander that leads you into the tunnel underneath the Lowe's hotel.
Here's where the cars will pick the quickest speed.
Yes.
They will be going really quick now for this hard braking before the chicane. That's the chicane that you pointed out. In 1980, this chicane was where you're seeing that tire barrier, white and red. It wasn't here. You simply moved into this big lane that was here on the seaside. In 1987, I believe, they added this chicane that the Formula One used, and this is the one that we will be using in this track, but at least it gives an overtaking opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, when I heard that we were using this version of the track, my historian tendencies were kind of like, I wish we had one that had that chicane, but never mind. This track provides what we need as far as the locale, and I think, you know, on a cost benefit analysis, I think we're doing fine. Okay, now we're going to go for a flying lap with Jan Kowalski, downshifting into Saint-Devote, now heading up the hill following Jakob Fredriksson. This is the Beau Rivage section, and I've been to Monaco before, and I can tell you this hill is definitely steep to walk up. Now heading into Massenet, the curve tightens up, heading right now into the casino. The car actually wants to understeer out of this corner, going over the slight hump there, now heading down by the tip-top bar into Mirabeau, the slight downhill section, into the Lowe's hairpin, turning left, accelerating now out of the Lowe's hairpin, heading right into the Poitiers, a curve that I really detest because I've had DNFs on that curve in many Monaco races actually. Now into the tunnel, heading to the right. Very proper to get it's very important to get the proper line through there to get most speed. Now downshifting for the chicane. Oh my goodness! Jan has a bit of a problem under braking here. He's now waiting to, he does a nice little spin to get back pointing the right way. Now he's on the way. Here we head to the Tobacconist turn, which is a left-hander, actually fairly quick, not as tight as you might think it is. Now into the swimming pool section, which I'm sure is going to provide some really interesting shots. There's a static camera in this section that will look really good on the start, I think. Exiting the swimming pool, now coming up to the left-hander at the Rascasse restaurant, which is on the right, shifting back to the right very quickly. Now up a short hill to Anthony Hodges, turning right, slight left, and then back onto the main quote-unquote straight where the bank is and the Royal Box and all that good stuff. And that's one lap of Monte Carlo.
And as you all have already seen, these cars are not exactly easy to drive around here. I mean, this is 1 ton of GT car with a very powerful engine, and as Piquet already said, way more engine than handling. And you see, there is both a problem in the braking. Those cars were very delicate on the braking. We've already seen Jan Kowalski falling victim of that. And also because of the big power and the greasy tires, because of the weight, the tires tend to overheat.
Oh, goodness.
Very greasy. Yep.
Yeah, and having another issue, yeah. So
it's a car that will move a lot around, and Richard Wills captured absolutely brilliantly the feeling of these cars, because the physics are absolutely spot on and nailed, not just because of the lap times we're getting, they are perfect, but also because of the way they drive. And in the footage from the era, you can really see that the cars move a lot and give the drivers really a lot of work on the steering, on the controls, on everything.
Angel May is asking on YouTube that if this were the older version of the track with the old chicane, would the cars actually go off into the harbor if they came off like they did in the old days? I don't know. Maybe. If it was, if people got it that wrong.
If they have big enough impact, probably so.
Who knows? There was that static shot I was mentioning just a second ago of the swimming pool complex, which I think is going to provide some excellent shots. And then this is the Raskas restaurant, the old gasworks corner that Jan is coming through. So, yeah, I mean, that was a very graphic representation of what happens when the tires get greasy and get loose at the back. So, question is, Alberto, as the race wears on, it's a 28-lap race. How do you think that's going to affect? How do you think the tire grip is going to change as the race wears on?
Well, it's for sure going to play a difference, because those who have been very aggressive from the beginning and have done lots of flat spotting because of the huge braking forces here, they will for sure see towards the end of the race that they have a big problem between their hands, both because the car will be sliding around a lot and because the steering will be continuously giving you vibration because both of the bumpy track and the flat spots. And if there's one stunt that we might be able to see, that's going to be also at that chicane, because I don't know if a car will end in the sea, but one thing that we are very likely to see is one of them turning over up into the roof, because it's very easy to clip it too hard and then stand on two wheels, and if you're not careful with the steering wheel, you can end on the roof.
Yeah, that Nouvelle chicane curb is not of the mild variety. It's a sausage section type curb, so you cannot just simply run over it.
Well, some racers have named it the launching ramp. So.
Well, I mean that's a good point. If you don't get it, if you get it wrong, you could find yourself launched. I mean, there you go. There's we're watching on board right now with Peter Hlavik, and Gerard Rion's right ahead of him, and he just clipped it slightly, and he was up on two wheels that easily. So, yeah, it could be a very eventful lap one with cars coming through that section. We're going to need to make the camera static and point it at that turn to catch whatever happens. I'm very lucky to have the keen eye of Alberto as my color commentator, because I'm going to need his help to find all the action today. It's going to be fast and furious, and we hope that everybody at home enjoys themselves watching this third round in the 1980 Procar Series. While we have some time, 2 minutes to go, let's take a look at what's coming up in the weeks ahead at HSO. Coming up next Sunday is the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach, the second round of the 1988 Kart Series. I am not going to be in this race for reasons that have been spelled out on the forum, but in any case, there will be two open drives available at Long Beach, and this is a very iconic race. It's interesting that it comes right after this Procar race, because it is kind of the Monaco of the United States in terms of...
It certainly is, yeah.
So that
West Coast Monaco.
That should be a very exciting race. I'm planning on broadcasting that in 1080p. Hopefully I'll have either Alberto or perhaps Jonathan to help me in the broadcast booth. And then on Wednesday night, we have the BBC Top Gear Magazine Race Day, which is the third round of the 1996 British Touring Car Championship. That's Wednesday, February 20th. And we're trying to do highlights of those races post using Jonathan as the video source and myself doing canned commentary after the fact. So hopefully we'll be able to keep that going as a regular feature on the YouTube channel. And then also coming up on Sunday, February 24th, we go back Procar racing at the Norris Ring, a track that has very mixed reactions with many people around here. Some people have called it like racing cars in a shopping aisle kind of a situation at the supermarket. Others find it interesting just from a historical point of view because it's in a very interesting kind of town square situation. But in any event, that will be the fourth round for the Procar Series. So we've got about 14 seconds to go here in the warm-up. We've timed this really well. And as you said, Grant Riddall is going to be on the pole, so we'll see We'll see how this pans out here. I mean, getting down to Sandoval, it comes up way faster than everyone thinks it will. If you don't brake at the exact right point, you can be in a lot of trouble right there. So hopefully we won't see any crazy stuff happen, but I wouldn't count on cars emerging from Sandoval with no damage whatsoever. So we're going to take you through the grid as soon as the cars go off on their formation lap. We have 12 people watching us right now on YouTube. Greetings to everybody. We're really excited to have you. And that siren means we're going to the race. On to the third round of the 1980 Procar Series, 28 laps of competition around Monaco. So strap in, grab a beverage, and enjoy.
The survival of the fittest.
It will be. So we're looking at Grant Riddall on the front row right now.
Taking its time to join the grid. Some reports already, as I mentioned, by the drivers during warm-up about the cars overheating. So there might be a bit of short shifting needed.
Well, we'll have a look and see what happens.
One car left to join the grid.
Mm-hmm.
There he goes.
Almost ready.
And because the sound mode is so good, we will be getting a glimpse at what actually meant to be hearing these cars, these fantastic six-cylinder engines with one of the best sounding ever racing competition engines.
So
delighting us here with the reverberation in the streets of Monaco.
That's true, yeah, it will be really good. So here we go, on the parade lap, on the pole, Grant Riddall in the Project 4 entry. In second place, we have Tiago Canola driving the B&S Fabrications entry number 25. Third is Austin Johnson in the second B&S entry. Fourth, David Jakes in Manfred Cassani racing car number 55, fresh off his win at Avis. Fifth, we have John Team in the Berzario team entry number 69. Sixth, we have Jakob Fredriksson in the Eggenberger Motorsports entry, number 66. Seventh, Reese Gardner in another B&S Fabrications car. Eighth, we have Pascal Mikola in BMW Austria entry, number 77. Peter Hlavik is in ninth, Scuderia Basilia entry, number 60. Change my view here slightly.
Stop substituting for David John today. Last minute situation, and Peter Lavak very swiftly putting the car so high in the grid.
Steve Parker is 10th in the Kanacher GT entry. 11th for Jason Whited in the Marco Rensport entry. 12th, Ray Riddall in the first of the GS tuning cars. 13th, Yves Placé, B&S Fabrications. Juha Boss in the first of the Pooh entries. 15th, David Miller in the number 91 Sauber Racing Switzerland entry, also a Pooh car. 16th, Jan Kowalski in the Schutz Racing entry, we watched him earlier. 17th, Raul Ureb in Team Schnitzer. 18th, Cesarius Lipinski in another B&S Fabrications entry. 19th, Adam Hackman, Jurgensen and Son. 20th, Timo Vermeersch in the Zoll Auto BMW. 21st, Gerard Rion in the GS Tuning BASF entry. 22nd, Mick Chapman in another Team Schnitzer car. 23rd, Lucas Vidra in another Merzario team entry. 24th, Alberto Aquino, Little Al, Team Schnitzer. 25th, David Saber in the other GS Tuning entry. Francois Remen in the Olimpo Motorsport entry. 27th, Bruno Chacon from Brazil, Scuderia Basilia. John Cook, the last car in the grid, Team Schnitzer from Canada. So that is your 28-car grid. Cars are now coming up to the line. Tense moments. You can hear some people getting the cars kind of burning out right before they get to the line.
Look at Jakob Fredriksson.
Oh, yeah.
He has placed his car very much angled for the spot between the others.
That's a classic Jakob move there that we've seen him do.
That's a spot that will close as we approach the corner, so be careful with that.
tense moments here. Everybody waiting for the cars to roll onto the grid. There's still a few more.
John Cook about to take his place now.
All right, in that case, then we'll be under starters orders very quickly here. Everybody waiting. Round 3 of the 1980 Procar Series about to get underway. Wait for the revs to climb, and you'll know that we're close to the start. Long hold time. Oh, here we go. Stand by. And the race is underway. Good getaway by Grant Riddall. Tiago Canola coming up right alongside as they head into Saint-Avant. Looks like there's a slight, oh goodness! We have one of the poo cars having an issue. Rally Rep comes to a complete stop. There's a big bottleneck here, but it looks like everyone's going to get going. All right, so it doesn't appear anybody, oh goodness, we have a full course yellow. Well, that's a bit of an anticlimax.
How come that? You did not get any accident?
No, not to my knowledge. Well, that's really unusual. There was no accident, at least none that I could see. There was just a bit of bump and grind in the corner, which we expected, but nothing at all like what we saw previously at Avis on the first lap, where there was a high-speed, well, not a high-speed accident, but a rather unfortunate one coming out of the first corner. It's bizarre. I don't know why we suddenly went full course yellow. Well, in any case, cars are circulating now at a rather pedestrian speed. I don't know if we even have the pace car on the track right now, because obviously it wouldn't have been able to join the track ahead of the other cars. It wouldn't have had a chance. So my guess is that the pace car is going to be picking these guys up exiting the final corner here. They are now in the swimming pool complex. So what does this do to the nerves of the drivers? I mean, it's a pretty this is a pretty unexpected thing. Is this going to alleviate some stress, do you think, Alberto? Or is it going to cause stress to ramp up? I guess it depends on who it is.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. Probably for the restart, as a rolling start will be safer, that's for sure.
I guess, yeah, I suppose one of the fringe benefits is that it will give everybody a chance to have a cleaner start instead of being side by side. Man, it's...
Is the uphill there is the safety car.
Well, I'm looking...
Grant has been going a bit slow, maybe. He took his time to pick it.
Well, the safety car has been deployed, so Grant is now accelerating up Beau Rivage, and he's behind the safety car now. So the safety car has collected the cars, and if Avis was any indication, it shouldn't be very long before they are released by the safety car. I would say at least 1 or 2 laps. So we should stay alert, because they could be released at any time. The order, as we have it right now, Grant Riddall is in the lead, Tiago second, Austin Johnson third, David Jackson fourth, John Team is fifth, Jakob Fredriksson sixth, Pascal Mikkel is seventh, Reese Gardner eighth, Steve Parker ninth, and Peter Hlavik at 10th. That is the top 10 as of now. As the field comes down to Mirabeau, now they're in the tunnel. And these laps under yellow are counting towards the final tally. So we are physically working lap 2 right now.
Yes, they are. That will probably reduce the racing distance a bit more, like the real race was, because we're doing it a bit longer. And the reason is that when they do these Procar races at Monaco, they were basically shows for the public, for everybody. So they were very, very short races. And the reason was that they had to fit it in the very packed schedule of the Formula 1 weekend. Otherwise, they would have done obviously longer races, and that's what we are doing, because we're not constrained by that. It
looks to me like everybody's cars are intact here. So I guess from a game point of view, the game was just trigger happy with regard to this yellow. So
yeah, it's a bit weird, but it's the default Automobilista settings for a mod that has road courses. So
well, anticlimactic for us, but I would wager that once we get the race underway, that things ought to smooth out a little bit. We'll see how things go. Coming through the Rascasse section now, and it appears we're going to go at least one more lap. Or are we? Hang on a minute. No, yes, we've got another lap to go here. The pace car's still rolling.
It's likely going to go into the pits at the end of this lap.
I would think so. The one thing to keep in mind is that the pace car in AMS, the lights don't mean anything. It's not like if they go out on the lap that you're on, it doesn't mean that you're going to go into the pits then. They're currently on, but I wouldn't read anything into the lights. If Avis is any indication, it'll just suddenly decide, okay, coming in now. It doesn't give any warning. So people have got to be on their toes. Looks like there's slight damage on Gerard Rion's car. He might have gotten into the back of somebody.
Also on little Alberto's right fender. Front fender. There's a bit of damage. Watching now the cars.
Into the Lowe's hairpin now.
Yeah, there was a bit of a pile up there in the back.
All right, well, that was probably what triggered it. So hopefully everybody will be pretty judicious this time around to make sure that we at least get the race underway.
Yeah, at some point, Raul Jareb was completely stopped in the middle of the race. He couldn't move at all, and that's probably what triggered it. But it's, yeah, like you say, quite trigger happy in this case.
All right, so cars exiting Nouvelle Chicane now, so we're going to stay with the front here and have a look and see what happens here with the restart. Hopefully,
bit of a distance between Thiago Canola and Grant. Let's see if he's going to get closer for a start, for a restart.
Frankly,
Austin Johnson certainly not going to be pleased with that.
No, you can see he's getting really anxious there. Okay, so cars are now coming through the Rascasse section.
Yeah, there he goes. He goes into the pits.
All right.
So we should be getting the restart now.
All right, so the restart is now happening. Cars exiting Anthony Hodges. We're back under green flag racing at the start of lap 4. Grant Ridal leads into Saint-Devote. Cars coming through. Looks like everyone's being really well behaved.
And Austin Johnson really looking at the way to pass Thiago Canola. He's not happy at all to see Grant escaping. Oh, Cesarius bruises the wall there on the back.
Oh, goodness.
Other than that, everybody's coming through.
Yep, everyone coming through the casino now. It looks like everyone's racing relatively clean and free. No big issues. Coming down now to the Lowe's hairpin. Grant leads. Austin Johnson having to bid there against Thiago. Cars looking for racing room as they come into the Lowe's hairpin.
And David Jacks, as is usual, is waiting there. Oh, Thiago Canola, I bet he let Austin pass. That was clearly an indication for Austin to pass. Thiago knows that Austin was quicker, and it's both are in benefit of both is not letting Grant Ridal escape.
Johnson, Canola, David Jakes, John Team doing well. To the order now: Ridal, Johnson, Canola, Jakes, Team, Fredrickson, Mikola, Gardner. Oh goodness, we got one car going over the curb. Gardner in 8th, Parker 9th, Hlavik in 10th.
And Raul Jareb just bruised the wall and got tangled with Timo Vermeers there. He's going slow there. It's a bit of a bottleneck there for the cars behind.
Cars locking up heavily going into Rascasse. They're going to have to watch out because that's another corner that comes up faster than you think it's going to. Grant Ridal coming down towards Saint-Devote once again, heading up the hill. There's Johnson in 2nd, Canola 3rd, Jakes in 4th, Team and Fredrickson, Mikola, Gardner, Parker and Hlavik. Heath Lasse is in 11th. So Grant's got an excellent gap opening up here so far. And Johnson definitely is the quicker of the two in front so far between himself and Canola, the two B&S entries. So we're going to see the race develop now. David Jakes getting very close to Canola, and we have Fredrickson, Mikkola, and Gardner. That's probably the most hot battle right now. Well, no, not really. There's another one. There's three or so here of cars running together, so it's going to be difficult to pick which one to go with. We also have a good scrap developing between Yareb, Alberto Aquino, and Francois Remen. Ridal continues to lead.
Back in the grids, but nonetheless very, very hard fought. And I see some cars smoking already at the end of the straight. So
well,
yeah, they are over-revving them.
That's not a good sign. We've already been talking about situations where cars are overheating, so we're only 4 laps into this race, about to complete 5. So if cars are already overheating, that's not good. Could that have had something to do with maybe running under yellow? Maybe elevated temperatures, not a lot of air coming into the engine?
No, I think it has to do more with the ambient temperature. It's quite hot in the track. But we shouldn't see any engine blowing unless they really do a wrong shift down or something like that. Because it's a very short race. So
now on board with Jakob Fredrickson, and he's looking for a way to get by John Team. He's climbing all over the back of him, clearly being held up as they come up the Beau Rivage section into Massenet, and he's got Pascal Mikkola. Oh, goodness, there's some contact. Definitely Jakob wants to get by, and he's got Mikkola breathing down his neck also. So, and he knows that all the time that he spends behind John Team, the other cars are getting away. So he's starting to get impatient, and that's a danger at Monaco. It's the old Groundhog Day saying, don't drive angry. If you drive with the red mist at Monaco, bad stuff usually happens.
It is, but it's so easy to get anxious here because this is a track where, like we said, passing is very, very hard. So
Reese Gardner! Sorry, Reese Gardner had a bit of a moment there, just at the entrance of the tunnel. But
yes, he has been already hitting some walls. And it's interesting to see that many people who did a very good qualifying time and seem quite confident there are now not really comfortable with the car. Not sure what the reason is, but you can really tell that from the driving. Chris qualified the car very well up in the grid, but now he doesn't seem to be comfortable at all driving.
We're already seeing some scars on the Armco in the swimming pool section. That's not a huge surprise. And of course, Mikkola, as I mentioned, running 7th behind these two, so he's looking for a way to get by. It looks like he had a slight, well, no, I think that was Fredrickson hitting the barrier there slightly, but he's watching points here. Oh, oh my goodness, Fredrickson just has a huge moment, and Pascal's able to get by. My goodness. John Team is already smoking as he comes up to the at Sandoval, and that definitely was not tire smoke. That was engine smoke, new Pope. So everyone keep an eye on that. If it looks like John has over-revved his engine, he may not be long for this earth.
And Thiago Canola is another one who is suffering what I explained just before, because he's really not comfortable in the car today. And that shows because he's receiving lots of pressure from David Jakes now. Yeah,
as they enter the station hairpin, Jakes is right on his back bumper. And, oh goodness, you can see there where he laid down a little bit of rubber, just trying to get some purchase there. So he's doing his best to stay right with Thiago. We'll see how this pans out as they get to a Nouvelle Chicane. We're working lap number 7 now, out of 28. Grant Ridal leads, Austin Johnson second. The car you're watching now, Thiago Canola is third, followed by David Jakes. Then we have John Team, Pascal Mikkola sixth, Fredrickson, despite that incident he had, is still in 7th, Reese Gardner 8th, Peter Hlavik 9th, and Steve Parker in 10th.
And Monaco seems to be a bit contradictory in some things, because even if it's so difficult to pass here, you would think that it's then very easy to block. It certainly might be, but then at the same time it's one of the tracks where you are losing more time and slowing more down when you're blocking another car.
Coming into Anthony Hodges right now. I believe I called it Hodges earlier. It's actually Anthony Hodges. Tiago gets out a little bit of a space here, so looks like maybe David just lost a little bit of purchase coming out of the final corner. Now to Sandoval again, up the hill. Tiago, Jenks in third, Team in fourth. Mikola is now coming under attack from Fredrickson, then Gardner, Hlavik, Steve Parker, Yves Blasse, who's now smoking, and no disrespect to Yves, but he's a guy who's known to be hard on engines, as his time at Matra in F171 would illustrate. So we'll have to keep an eye on him. I believe he actually retired from a race recently with engine problems. So,
and Rhys Gardner seems to have found a rhythm he's comfortable with, because look how much he has close to Jakob Fredriksson and Pascal Mikula.
Yes, he has. He's starting to get very comfortable. Rhys, a friend of...
and it's amazingly meritorious in this case, because as you all know, he's driving with just one arm. He shows it clearly in his YouTube channel. He's called Southpaw Racer because he only has his operative left arm, and doing all the counter steering here and all the physical effort, well, that must be really tolling, even if you are used to that.
Well, he has something in mind with one of my favorite drivers of all time, Gary Bettenhausen, who essentially was driving with one arm. Yeah. All right, so Rhys definitely getting close to Fredrickson at this point, but Fredrickson is also very close to Mikola. And we could see a change of position here very quickly, but I'm impressed. You know, I mean, Fredrickson is a very good driver to start with, but he's not, oh goodness, he still has that oversteer condition. So he's going to have to watch that if he's going to want to stay in the top 10.
Yeah, because the passing here normally is going to happen only because of the error of the...
Yeah, it's going to be OPP. Oh, goodness! Rhys Gardner, just as you were saying, there's the... Oh, be careful, be careful, be careful. He's reversing as cars are coming around the corner. I know from experience, you got to keep a cool head, and he does an excellent job of not backing into traffic and continues. I am taking notes as I watch that. Very good job, Rhys. Didn't let the heat of the moment get to him and made a very, very sensible... Now, of course, he's got to get his rhythm back. But at least the car's in one piece. He didn't damage himself too much. He's dropped down to 15th, but as we've said, this is going to be survival of the fittest, so he may find himself back in points contention before long.
Austin Johnson really not far back behind Grant Riddle, unable to contact with him. Oh, Grant now reached the wall. Now that was an error. That has allowed Austin Johnson to get closer, and it probably also has made Grant a bit more nervous.
Well, I mean...
Maybe we're starting to see some dents in his armor now.
Well, I mean, this track has been the great equalizer in many series. I mean, you have the added equalization here of everybody driving the same car. But definitely, I mean, we've seen drivers get crossed up here. Even drivers of the caliber of Ayrton Senna have made serious errors here.
Whoa, John Kowalski now. He almost...
Oh, Grant Riddle has a moment, and Sandoval and Austin's all over him. They're going up Beau Rivage now. This could be a pass for the lead. Yes, Austin Johnson takes the lead going into Massenet. New leader. But Grant Riddle is coming in. Oh, my goodness, the back end slips out. He tried to get back in the inside at Massenet. It didn't work. He's going to stay right with him, but good grief, his tires must be absolutely boiling at the moment. He had no way of putting down rubber there. Coming through now into the station hairpin. So the battle for the lead is most definitely on.
Yeah, you could tell from the way they have been driving and how the cars have been moving. They have been really overdriving the cars. You have to be gentle here. And even if it's a short race, it's more than enough to cook these tires, because those were tires meant for short races.
And
these cars weight a lot.
Austin's car is telling us that there's a new pope as well. Over the sausage curbs, Grant is trying to get an advantage. That's not the way to do it. Austin now pulls out a gap.
No, Grant missed his braking point, or either the tires didn't respond well enough. And Austin was very lucky to just turn the corner before Grant arrived.
Oh, more! Oh, goodness! Grant just grazed the Armco in the swimming pool. He was very, very lucky to not grab a section where the Armco opens. If he had grabbed that with the front corner of this car, that'd be tout fini for him. coming into the Rascast section now. Grant's got to really calm down here. I mean, if he's not careful, he's going to throw this race away.
After that moment of losing the lead, he seems to have been thrown out of his rhythm. I wouldn't say that he's nervous, so to speak, because he's such a great driver. A driver of that caliber isn't really nervous. But when you lose your rhythm, it's so difficult to gain your concentration.
You just missed a shift just
yes.
now. And if you're Austin Johnson, this race is going absolutely fantastic. I mean, this is exactly what you need to get into championship contention.
And remember that Austin Johnson is probably the best guy on track when you're on warm tires. When the tire grip is very little, then you can be sure that Austin Johnson is going to be there.
All right, so looking back now, there's a huge gap back to third place between Thiago and Jakes, and they are locked in Mortal Kombat as well.
And Team Mikula and Fredriksson.
Yeah,
also.
Team Mikula and Fredriksson, a great three-car battle here. And then Peter Hlavik watching points just behind them.
Another great battle between two our veterans drivers and also very expert in GT car racing, Steve Parker and Yves Placet.
On board right now with Pascal Mikula as he follows John Team through the tunnel.
Oh, Juha Boss just got pushed by Jan Kowalski. That almost made him spun. Now that's shouldering your way through what Jan Kowalski just did.
All right, we're going to look at a replay of this. Juha Boss coming down to accelerate here a little bit so we can get closer to the actual incident. Juha had a bit of contact there with Ray Radal. Kowalski right behind him, and then shoulders his way through on his way to Portier. In defense of Kowalski, Juha was a bit crossed up, and he saw an opportunity and went for it. But now Juha's bouncing off the barriers going through the swimming pool. That's not the fast way around.
This is probably going to be the most expensive pinball playing in history.
Yes.
Were back then $50,000 a piece.
I'm going to open a fiberglass shop at the corner of the Rascast here because I'm thinking that's where a lot of business will be had after this race. Juha seems to have regained his bearings now.
John Cook? What happened to John Cook?
I do not know. Side by side right now with Mikula and Team. Mikula trying to find a way by, but it didn't quite pan out. Now he's down the inside, coming into the Mirabeau. Oh my goodness! He just runs out of room, and then we've got Fredriksson, too wide, coming into the station hairpin. They're right together. Slam the door. Now into Portier. Mikula looking for racing room, trying to get around John Team. He's basically in the same situation. Oh, goodness! Tires getting hot. Grip at a premium. Smoke coming out the back of John Team's car. New Pope. Down to the chicane. My goodness. If these guys want to be around at the end, they better start babying these cars a little bit.
It's funny because we have seen three leaders here in this pack. Team Mikula and Fredriksson, and even if they seem to be able to pass, none of them seems to be able to open a gap once they are forward.
Oh, Hlavik makes a move on Fredriksson, and I don't think it's going to happen. No, he just, unfortunately. Okay, Mikula coming up now to, oh goodness, he is just all over the back of Team.
All over John Team.
Like a cheap suit. Final corner now onto the main straight by Prince Albert. Right in his slipstream, if you can call it that, looking for room. There isn't any. Now they're heading up the hill. Fredriksson's got the $75 seat for this one. Austin Johnson still leads. Grant Radal second. Thiago Canola is still third. David Jakes is fourth. We're watching the battle between John Team, Pascal Mikula, and Jakob Fredriksson, which is one of the hottest ones on the track at the moment. Down to, oh goodness, Mikula losing traction there, and Fredriksson.
Meanwhile, in the back, Yves Placet seems to have been able to pass Steve Parker, though he's not losing him.
Now he's right with him. Parker's staying right there. Placet now entering the station hairpin. Back with the John Team's car is now consistently producing smoke as it goes through the tunnel. So you have to wonder at what point that engine is going to give up the ghost. Although he has a very, very slow entry into the.
And Rich Gardiner has abandoned the race.
Oh goodness!
Park in the pits.
That's too bad for Reese because he had some good. He had a few good laps earlier. Now, Team had a very, very poor Nouvelle chicane a second ago, and that's allowed. Well, Mikola got close to him for a second, but I think the accordion effect caused Fredriksson to have a shot. But these guys are really bottled up here. Lots of stop and start. Very awkward racing situation, I think, for these three. And it's about to get even more awkward because Peter Hlavik is getting closer and closer every lap.
Yeah, like I said, they seem to be able to pass, but none is able to open a gap.
Poor Mikola's got to drive in a smokescreen behind Team. Fredriksson loses the back end again, which may open a situation here for Hlavik, but no, actually Fredriksson's right close with Mikola, looking for a way to get by in Massenet. He's alongside him now.
Oh, Jesus, he tried to do that sideways.
Sideways.
Drifting the car.
Didn't quite work. Now he's coming down the inside towards Mirabeau, but Mikola fades to the inside as though to say, this is my line and I'm keeping it.
Well, if he had pulled that pass sideways, that would have been something, probably the pass of the season so far. Oh, there you go.
Oh, man.
Doing a Scandinavian flick, he lost it.
Yep. Hlavik goes up one position.
You can always count with Peter Hlavik there.
Yep.
This is the kind of error you don't make in front of someone like Peter.
Tiago Canola, by the way, is still holding off David Jakes. So, despite the fact that it appears Jakes is faster than Canola, Canola's driving a very defensive race. Now here comes Mikola trying to put another move on Team in the swimming pool.
I think that Jakes is already starting to think about the championship with his victory in the Avus and how he feels when driving in this kind of races. He's already starting to take the calculator out because, you know, he's probably one of the most thinking drivers that we have on the grid. So he knows that Canola is a formidable driver, so he's not going to do anything stupid or push it. He's just going to wait for an error or for Tiago to cook his tires. He knows that anyway he's probably not going to be able to catch up with Grant and Austin Johnson, so he's going to take as many points as possible and hope that Grant, Tiago and Austin crash.
Okay, John's car is now consistently smoking. It's not just it's not just in the fast bits anymore. As they come into oh goodness, yeah, John just had a huge moment coming down the hill into Mirabeau. He's having trouble hanging on to that car. It's not just the engine being hot. So I mean, if you're Mikola, part of you, and if you're Mikola, part of you thinks, well, there's no point in trying to push John because he's not long for this earth. But on the other hand, the longer you hang out behind him like this, the further away Jakes is getting from you.
Yeah, it's at this point, Pascal probably should simply try to cool down his tires and wait until the inevitable happens with John.
Yeah. So 14.
Not necessarily engine, but.
So 14 laps are complete. We're working lap 15. So with half the race gone, there is half the race yet to go, to quote Murray Walker. Into the swimming pool section. Fredriksson again watching points with these two. Oh my goodness.
Then on the back of the grid, if we look at the other end, that's Bruno Chacon still holding off Mick Chapman, who is trying to find a way to pass. Bruno's driving very steadily, but not giving Mick Chapman any easy way through.
And you can see the battle scars in the front of Bruno's car. So he's had a few run-ins with some people, and definitely it would be motor vehicles and not Armco because it's at the front and not on the sides of the car. Although, I don't know. I mean, with the oversteer we're seeing, it's not uncommon to have the front end pointing right at the Armco itself. But these two look like they're kind of nursing their cars. This is not... They don't seem to be driving with the same reckless abandon. that cars further to the front are, so maybe they're nursing something. But the interesting part is now we have the insane battle of Team Mikkola and Fredriksson coming up behind these two. So things ought to get really dramatic for these two in a matter of a few minutes here. They're going to have to find a way to let them by.
And let's wait and see also what happens towards the end of the race if they are still in this position, because at Abus we were all surprised by a really, really daring move that was made by Fredriksson towards the end of the race, and that was, well, it gave rise to some words between drivers, so to speak, because many were not happy with it.
So now we're coming up to a point where the leaders are going to start lapping people. Thank you to the YouTube audience for pointing that out. Grant is hanging right with Austin, and he's coming up now to Little Al in the Unipart Schnitzer entry. So all it will take is a small miscommunication between Little Al and Austin Johnson, and it could create an opportunity where Grant's able to close. We'll see what happens. They're coming down now to Mirabeau. Little Al moves out to the outside and lets both of them by, very sportingly of him. So that's one lapped car out of the way. They're going to be coming up to another one in a second here.
Whoop, Jakob Fredriksson's out.
Oh no! What happened? Well, this must have happened a while ago because I'm looking at him in a replay and we can't see it. That's unfortunate. Maybe it was engine related. Who knows? We'll have to talk to him post-race to find out. Meanwhile, Jan Kowalski is getting very close to Dave Miller here in one of the Pooh cars. But again, it's interesting because...
Oh, Mikkola on 2 wheels. That was very close to spinning.
Goodness. Well, we're going to have to look at a replay of that. On 2 wheels.
And Rhys Gardiner, meanwhile, posted that he was not really having a great race today, not a great show, but he had some tires cooked, and he just sent his apologizes to Francois Raymond because when he spun, he was blocking the track. So it seems that Francois had contact with him.
All right, so yeah, where Mikkola got on 2 wheels was at Portier actually. He's got Peter Hlavik right behind him now. Very unfortunate for Fredriksson. Maybe on the forum he will explain what happened, but we just didn't see it. It happened too far back to use a replay. So Canola has opened up a small gap to Jakes now, so that battle is pretty much off the boil at this point. But Grant is right with Austin Johnson now. Oh, goodness, they're on the inside. He taps the left rear quarter of Johnson in the station hairpin as they're now heading into, oh, goodness, into Poitiers. So Grant may be able to mount some kind of a challenge here. They've lapped David Saber. Coming up now,
even if both are really title challengers, I think the situation at this point is quite different. Grant probably in this track, especially in this track, he shouldn't be taking so many risks. I know he wants the victory, but this is likely going to end in tears.
Well, we'll see. I mean, when they come by the flag stand at this point, whoever the person running the proceedings is going to be looking at them with both hands wide open and fingers spread, meaning 10-1-0 laps to go. They are currently working lap number 18, going into number 19. Oh my goodness, these guys are absolutely driving on the limit. Grant is right with Austin now. They're coming up to lap Adam Hackman in a moment here. Coming down to, Grant is starting to smoke as well, so not just Austin's engine starting to get overheated, also Grant. Coming up
at the end
hill.
Of the straights, they will occasionally.
Oh goodness!
That's the point where they reach the maximum temperature.
Hackman makes room for both Grant and Austin in the Massenet. Not an easy place to allow leaders by, but they did it. Now coming down to the Mirabeau. The gap remains fairly constant between Grant Riddall and Austin Johnson. Now into the station hairpin. They've got another car just ahead of them. This is Lucas Vidra. So we'll see how Lucas is able to handle this. They're entering the tunnel now. And he pulls to the right-hand side. He doesn't want to have any part of this. He lets them through. Very good sporting driving.
Good move, indeed.
Excellent. Because if you
good choice of the place and the timing.
Excellent. I mean, that's infinitely preferable to doing it at the Nouvelle chicane, which could cause confusion easily. Oh, and Lucas actually loses it back there. So, oh, there may have been some contact back there. It looks like there might have been. But in any case, Grant, oh, he's bouncing off the Armco again. He's got to watch that. Not that, I mean, it's debatable how much grazing the Armco is actually going to affect these cars. We're not running at high speeds, so aerodynamic considerations are not really important where that's concerned. But oh goodness, Grant!
Oh Jesus! Now Peter Lava got sideways in the middle of the tunnel. It was just a miracle that he was able to get it back to place.
Well, I'm going to stay with the leaders because there's just too much at stake at the moment. I wish I could go back and find that, but at this point, Grant is now... Oh, no! Austin Johnson spins around! Grant Renault goes into the lead! Unbelievable! Oh, my goodness! Well, it's a good thing I didn't go back. Let's have a look at that on a replay. Coming down towards... And we'll look at it from Austin's point of view. My goodness. Comes into... Oh, he got on the curbs and just hit the throttle, and the thing just came right around. My goodness. Unbelievable. So, new leader. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Grant Renault is back in the lead. The gap between himself and Austin Johnson is 9 seconds, so that's a huge gap to overcome with less than 10 laps to go.
It is, yes. Unless something unexpected happened, Grant has now really a good cushion to work with.
So Austin, well, I mean, this has still been a good race as far as he's concerned. You know, he hasn't been a points contention, hasn't been in points contention up to this point, even though he's only going to be finishing second if he stays where he is. But goodness.
Second's going to move him up in the championship.
It will.
So it's not going to cut any distance with the leader, with Grant Riddle. That's the bad part of it.
Jakes is right up with Canola now again, so that's back to being an actual battle. Before it had slowed down, so there's a chance for Jakes to get on the podium here. Tiago's coming up to lap another car. I believe it's Little Al, yeah. So
and Peter Lavak just passed Steve Flasse for 7th position. He is now far behind Mikula and John Till.
Now
but
coming,
he gained that position.
My goodness! Now coming into Sandovat, going up the hill. Alberto is going to have to find a place to let these two by. Jakes is right with Canola now. Oh, Little Al's moving to the outside. Oh, goodness! Okay, this is a better place to let them by into Casino. He moves to the left, lets them both by. Good job. Coming down now into Mirabeau. Oh, goodness, looks like Jakes might have a chance. No, not really. It's always false promise there coming into Station Hairpin. It always looks like you can get alongside somebody, but it almost never works. Now into Poitiers and now into the tunnel.
And now Jakes picked a lot of angle. He seems to be willing to have a run here on the tunnel. And maybe he tries something at the end on the chicane. Let's see. No, he's a bit too much far behind.
Yeah, he's too far behind in this instance. Really what you have to do is you have to get alongside somebody before the corner that you intend to pass them on. And even, and we've seen...
Lucas Vidre, hang on for a moment. Yeah, he's out of the race also.
Oh, shoot.
Not sure when it happened.
Well, I got to say, we have, this time by, we're going to have 7 laps to go. And we haven't really seen the attrition that we were expecting. I mean, it's not as, I mean, although in the end, we haven't seen how long these engines are going to last. If engines start failing right as we get to the end here, the picture could change rapidly. In any case, Oh, we've got a yellow flag up here at the corner. What's going on? Somebody might have gone off the course. I don't see anybody. Oh, they've quit already, that's why. Lapping going up the hill, Saber and Remen, and people who are being lapped are doing an excellent job getting out of the way. Aren't causing too much trouble for people who are coming up through the field. So here's another chance for Jakes getting really close. He had a notion to look down the inside there at the hairpin, but he's like, He's trying different lines. He's thinking about how can I get this done, because I don't think it's any question that he's faster than Canola right now. It's just a matter of, okay, where do I do this?
Yeah, you really need a big speed difference to be able to pass here. Otherwise, it's just waiting for the driver error.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Team has got a good distance between himself and Mikola. Hlavek is behind that group with Place, Parker, Riddall, and Whiten. So it's pretty spread out towards the back. The next biggest battle, if you can call it that, is between Juha Boss and Dave Miller. We'll give Dave some TV time because we know that Mrs. Dave is watching. Right up there with Juha. Juha's got a big dent in the front of his Pooh car. And Dave is also driving for the Pooh Jeans concern, even though his is with a different team. Coming down to the chicane. Out of the chicane. Oh, Dave misses a shift there. He's got to watch that. Into the swimming pool. Juha is having a, oh goodness, Juha's having a hell of a time trying to hang on to the car. Dave may have a chance here before long, because looks like Juha's rear tires are not very happy at the moment. He's all over the place coming into the Rasakas. Up the hill, Anthony Nodges on the right, accelerating down the straight. Oh my goodness, yeah, he's Juha is having to fight that car around the track, so a little bit of New Pope going on into Saint-Devote. Up the hill now. Juha's definitely kind of taking it easy through that section. And Dave has to drive through the mist now behind Juha. Takes an outside line here. He's trying to set up for the next corner into, oh, Juha's having difficulty.
Oh, John Tim. Ooh, he almost crossed the yellow there. He missed the chicane. He was bouncing all over the curves, and Pascal Mikula has been able to pass him. Peter Lavak is about to do the same if he gets the run. Seems not, but...
Okay, here's a replay of what happened going into... oh, yes, he ran right over the curbs at the Nouvelle chicane, and Pascal was able to get through just barely. So he loses one position. Pascal Mikola up the
situation of Cook tires.
Yeah, probably. Hlavek now climbing all over the back of... oh, goodness, yeah, John's tires definitely are cooked. Hlavek has a chance here to move up a spot. He's looking to the inside here as they come up to Saint-Devote, but he doesn't have enough room to mount a challenge. Not close enough. Heading up the hill. Meanwhile, David and Canola are still fighting, and give Thiago credit. He's been able to keep David at bay this whole race. Excellent effort from him, and looks like, you know, barring any insane situation, he could be rewarded with a podium finish.
Could very well be.
Yep. Meanwhile, second place, Austin Johnson is running all alone.
So Grant Riddle slapping now Bruno Chacon.
Yeah, Bruno.
But he lost a bit of time there, but
a little bit. But we're talking. Yeah. Now we're talking about a 12-second gap here. I mean, it would take a act of God, really, for Austin to be able to close that situation. Grant's now coming up on Gerard Rion. Actually, he doesn't have that many cars ahead of him that he has to lap, so it's as long. Oh, he runs a little bit wide there. Clearly, the car is spent, but providing that he can keep it pointed in the right direction, it doesn't do anything out of the ordinary. I don't see why Grant wouldn't be able to bring it home. I mean, he nearly had the race won at Avis. He timed his overtake going into the last corner, or second to last corner, just brilliantly. He hung behind Fredrickson and Jakes, and then waited for the exact right time to accelerate and slingshot past, and he had it timed beautifully. I mean, it was so technically fantastic. But then Fredrickson was coming up the inside of the next corner, thought he had some daylight to get through there, and just ran out of room. Both cars careening into the Armco, and David Jakes was like, "I'll take the lead, thank you very much." And he comes home with the silverware, and there were some smarted drivers after that, some hurt feelings, I think, maybe. But they patched it up and were gentlemen about it on the forum. Basically admitting, like, if I were in the other person's shoes, I probably would have done the exact same thing. Racing is racing. Both of them wanted to win.
Chapman's in the pits right now.
Oh, he is? Okay, Grant is having some issues holding onto the car here, so it's a good thing he's got the gap that he does. The gap is up to actually 13 seconds, even with all this, even with all these inconsistent corners Grant's been having, which is interesting. So
yeah, his last laps have been definitely much slower, 2 to 3 seconds.
But the gap is now 10 seconds, or a little bit, or actually more like 11. But Thiago Canola, if he finishes third, that's going to be an excellent boost for his championship hopes, because he did miss the last round at Avis, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he missed, yes.
And so, you know, that's a big blow to his chances in the championship, but he's going to have, this will be a nice boost for him. He's currently fifth. Grant coming up now to Gerard Rion, who's driving the BASF entry.
And Peter Lavak lost the position to Yves Placé and is now trying to get it back, and they are really in a big fight there.
Oh, yes. Coming up, they got John Thiem in front of them, who, as we mentioned before, is having issues holding on to that car. Jakob Fredrickson is not impressed with us bringing up the Avis moment in the broadcast. Sorry, Jakob, but it's newsworthy. It's part of the series. It happened. It had implications. I'm sorry. All right, so into station hairpin. Yeah, Hlavik is right with Placé now. Oh, and we have, I believe that's Alberto letting them by in the tunnel, doing a good job of getting out of the way. But you know, finding a good place to let cars by in this circuit is really kind of a relative thing. That's like finding, I don't know, I can't think of a good analogy at the moment, but it's like there really is no good place to let people by here.
No, there isn't.
Maybe the station hairpin, maybe the exit of Poitiers are the two best places.
The problem is that to let anybody by, you have to go so much slower.
Oh, there's David Saber moving at an absolute crawl, letting everybody by at the last corner. So Thiem now looks like he's possibly going to be able to mount a challenge on Mikola here. Yeah, he's right with him now. Oh, he gets out of shape, looking for a way to get alongside. He is alongside. No, not really. That was the telephoto lens fooling me. Sorry, folks. Looking for a way on the outside, but Placé is right there. Hlavik is a little further behind, but not really part of this fight at the moment. Oh, goodness. John Thiem is really having to throw out the anchor to stop that car.
Yeah, those tires are absolutely flat spot.
They are.
For him, it's now a lock-up festival.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that there is a single corner where he doesn't lock up the wheels.
Okay, so Grant Riddall coming out of the final corner now is going to be starting his final lap. Lap 28. And I guess, you know, when we look back on this race, it'll be a case of perseverance more than anything. Grant waiting until just staying in shouting distance of Austin and waiting for something to happen, and it did, and he got back in front. So an excellent result, assuming that he can complete this circuit. Oh my goodness, he glances off the, oh goodness, he glances off the barrier there. Dude, come on. Don't throw it away now.
Yeah, that was really, really, really.
He's got 10 seconds. He's got 10 seconds in hand. I mean, he can afford to not drive 10/10ths right now. Comes out of the, you can see he's got some damage in both front corners. Into the tunnel now. Coming up to Timo Vermeersch. Coming through Nouvelle Chicane now for the final time. Now he just has to do the tobacconist, swimming pool, Rascasse and Anthony Nogges one more time, and he's home free. He's not making any attempt to get by Vermeersch here, and I definitely don't blame him. Not a good situation when you're only a few corners away. No need to make things more dramatic than they need to be. Coming into the Rascasse, definitely. Oh goodness! Austin Johnson has been given a drive-through penalty. Now that's something we weren't expecting. In any case, Grant Riddall crosses the line and wins the Monaco round of the Procar Series. We're looking for who's running in second at the moment. Austin Johnson crosses the line. Thiago Canola. Wait a minute. Thiago Canola is now being called the race winner. Oh, goodness. It looks like we have some kind of a... Oh, no.
Yeah, something weird.
Something went wrong. Well, in any case, you and I all know who the winner is.
Yeah. It's no there are no penalties. I mean that must have been some kind of glitch. So the correct order is how they cross the finish line. So
yeah, absolutely. So that's something that the admins are going to have to sort out post race. But for the benefit of our audience, Grant Riddall wins from Austin Johnson, and I believe Thiago came across in third. So an excellent result for Grant. Austin, unfortunate to see him lose the lead the way he did, but he still came across in second. That's a good result for him, and it'll put him back into championship contention as we've talked about. So that was round 3, and we will now move into the post-race interview portion. We'll wait for people to come into the green room. A reminder of what's coming up in the next few weeks at HSO. We've got the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach, and the thread for that should be going up immediately following this race. And there are 2 cars available, the incredibly fast Dale Coyne car and the Amway-sponsored Lola Judd AV is also available, which is a good car. So head on over to the forum if you want to try to pick one of those 2 up. I'm picturing just the absolute door-busting situation to get to Dale Coyne's car. And coming up Wednesday, we have the BBC Top Gear Magazine Race Day extravaganza race, whatever you want to call it, which is the 3rd round of the 1996 BTCC Series, Wednesday, February 20th. And then the following Sunday, we go back Procar racing again, with yours truly doing the play-by-play, and perhaps Alberto with the color.
I think I will be driving at the Norris Ring.
Oh, you'll be driving at Norris Ring.
Maybe Richard Coxon will join you.
I would love it if Coxon would do color commentary. That'd be fantastic. If you're listening, Coxon, that would be cool. So, Let's see if anybody's going into the green room here. Nobody in the green room at the moment, which is odd. I would think that somebody would want to talk, maybe like Jake's or I don't know. Anyway, what's your reaction to this race, Alberto?
Well, first of all, I must say that I was expecting a much bigger attrition.
Yeah.
We only had 4 cars that did not finish. That was despite, as you all saw, that they were bouncing in the walls, smoking sometimes with the engines and all that. So in general, I must say I'm very pleased that they managed to bring the cars to the end. Then, well, this is starting to be very much falling in the favor of Grant Riddle in this championship. Austin Johnson has been able to do some damage limitation, but still Grant has been able to push away from him. So we'll have to watch and see, but if Grant doesn't start having a bad luck strike, it's going to be quite complicated for the other title contenders.
Okay, so we do have one person in the green room.
User was moved to your channel.
Dave Miller of the Pooh Brigade. Dave, how was your race?
It's always going to be exciting around Monaco, just driving-wise. Bit of a quiet one to start with until I caught up with, of all people, Yuhar again. I can't seem to get away from him at the moment.
Well, Alberto was just talking about the fact that we had a surprisingly low attrition race. It was a lot of people bouncing off of Armco like a pinball machine thing, and worked out really well as far as having a lot of people around at the finish. Not sure what happened there with the scoring at the end, but I'm sure it's something our admins can take care of. Talk about the difference in going from a race that was all high speed and then one where it's about basically hitting marks in each turn precisely. I mean, the change from one to the other must have been crazy.
It's a bit of a step, yeah. It's you go from thinking all about slipstreams and trimming the car out for max speed to pretty much the exact opposite. It's all about getting on the brakes nice and smoothly, turning in at the right moment, and keeping it out of those walls because they hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was surprised by the lack of attrition. I'd set the car up fairly conservatively, expecting quite a lot more people to drop out, but obviously that didn't happen.
Well, I mean, the nice thing about this race is that it's quite instructive going to the Norris Ring for the next round, because it's a very similar situation. It's a track where you have to be very careful going into corners, and you have to hit the marks exactly right. So maybe this race will be instructive for that one, in a way.
It's almost basically take Arvis and Monaco and smash the two together. You've got a long straight and lots of sharp bends.
I suppose that's true, yes. Alberto, any questions for Dave?
No, I think he put it everything quite well.
Mm-hmm.
It was plainly clear that we all expected more attrition, and that this was a race where, well, the tactic to follow for most people was damage limitation, try simply to be there at the end, but this time it didn't pay as much dividends as you would hope.
All right, well, since there's nobody else in the green room, we're going to close out the broadcast here. Remember that next Sunday, we're going to have the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach, which should be a really exciting race. I want to thank Alberto for joining me in the booth. Hope everybody enjoyed at home. And for Alberto, this is Jason White saying so long from Monaco. We'll see you next week.